Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins. And in the last episode, the members of the Future Gadget Laboratory were busy holding a celebration of sorts for the completion of the time leap machine, even though Rintaro has expressed concerns about its actual use, and so the lab members have decided against actually experimenting directly with the time leap machine. Unfortunately, the rivalry or the antagonism between Suzuha and Kurisu hasn't really abated. In fact, it seems to have grown stronger. Since Rintaro was utterly ineffective in defusing the situation, it was up to none other than Mayushi to basically try and create a kind of temporary truce as far as Suzuha and Kurisu are concerned. Just as we were enjoying a moment of calm, however, an urgent news bulletin appears on the TV. The subtitles read, "Terrorist bomb threat suspends Yamanote, Sobu, Keihin, Tohoku lines." The timing of that seems too sudden to be coincidental.
全部秋葉原駅通ってるじゃん。眉し帰れないんじゃね。
Somebody knew what they were doing, it seems.
本当だ。家に電話しなくちゃ。
You should go do that, Mayuri. But it's odd. A bomb threat. I don't know why, but I've got a bad feeling about this. Only the lines passing through Akihabara are suspended, as if that were the target. So somebody doesn't want anyone getting in or out of Akihabara, basically cutting the entire city off and isolating us. Could that be it? Could the bomb be at Akihabara Station? Could very well be. I get a cold feeling in my stomach. It's a dire situation indeed. And Suzuha suddenly pipes in with this question. Well, pretty much. The time machine is complete. Yet, actually, you didn't ask a question per se. In fact, you don't even seem surprised in the least about that fact. Call me curious, but it seems like you were anticipating something like this. And just like that, Suzuha is gone. She leaves without another word. Much to Kurisu's irritation, but we have no time for internal fighting. Suzuha's acting strange. Is it related to the bomb threat? Why did she just ask about the time leap machine? Something occurs to me. The two threatening emails I received. Yeah, safe to assume that they were not pranks. We're watching you. The regelatin and the severed doll's head. You know too much. Who sent them? Well, there is only one answer to that question. And there's more. Words and images flash through my head. SERN. A Large Hadron Collider. Jellymen. The SERN program. Government secrets. The organization. Men in Black. The Committee of 300. The Time Leap Machine. What did Kurisu say just moments ago?
私たちひょっとするととんでもないものを作っちゃったかもしれない。
I think Kurisu was not mistaken when she uttered those words. Taken separately, each of these elements was insignificant. But if I consider them part of a single line, they all point to one inescapable truth. We've come too far. Fear seizes my heart in an icy grip. I can feel anxiety eating at my brain. I can't breathe. Even though it's hot and humid, my body shivers. Should we run? Get out while we still can? Well, probably anything is probably better than staying around the lab waiting for something to happen, because we are basically boxed into a corner, with the only way out being the entrance just over there. Unfortunately, whosoever is responsible for the potential bomb threat, and I wouldn't be remiss in saying that I would be putting all of my money on SERN. But if that is the case, then it's safe to say that if they already know about us, SERN will not just be focused on the train lines of Akihabara. In fact, whether or not the bomb threat itself is real or fake is irrelevant. What matters is that the police are definitely going to be treating it as real, regardless of whether it is or it isn't. Which basically means that while chaos and panic is happening at the various lines that are being cut off as a result of this terrorist bomb threat, we, the lab members of the Future Gadget Laboratory, are essentially vulnerable to an assault from SERN. We can't use the trains. What about the subway? Or would a taxi be better? If SERN are the ones targeting us, and I have every reason to assume that they are, they won't leave anything to chance. They'll have people watching all the ways out. Basically, in a nutshell, all our base now belong to SERN. Not the other way round anymore. Nobody's saying anything. Now granted, SERN clearly have no idea that Daru himself was directly responsible for our hacking into the network, but then they don't need that information. They already have enough on us. Nobody's saying anything, nobody's doing anything. What should we do? Suddenly there's a softness against my hand. I look down to see Mayuri's hand holding mine. When I look up, I see worry written on her face. It's okay. I'm just being paranoid. If only wishes could come true, Rintaro. It's all just a coincidence. Tomorrow, we'll get rid of the time leap machine. Then we can forget all this ever happened. Indeed, on the one hand, if we do escape, we might end up being caught by SERN, and then again, even if we do manage to escape, SERN will basically have the not only have the time leap machine in their grasp, but the computer that we use to hack into their network in the first place. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. Pretend it was all just a dream. We never invented a time machine. If CERN have their way, and they probably will, that fact will, that wish may soon become a reality. I don't need money. As long as we can forget about today and welcome tomorrow, we'll be okay, won't we? I hate to be the bearer of ill news, Rintaro, but I sincerely doubt that. But my anxiety doesn't go away, and for very good reason. CERN do not play around. CERN do not play nice. I look over Mayuri's head at the entrance to the lab. The door is unlocked. Anyone could just waltz right in. Perhaps we should have turned off all the lights and, or just prepare for an ambush, just in case, although there is some... The space is sadly, open, but if we actually had, there's not much of an opportunity for an ambush, by us, unfortunately, or a counter-ambush. I hear sirens wailing a few streets away. Well, I sincerely doubt that the local police are going to be of any assistance, and even if they were, CERN will probably deal to them like they're going to deal to us. The bomb threat has Akihabara in an uproar. Yet here in our corner of Akihabara, it's so quiet, and no one is coming to save us. Mayuri squeezes my hand with her warm, slender fingers. I squeeze back. The next thing I know, the door slams open. Well, it appears that CERN have quite the posse of professional mercenaries at their disposal here. Although it could be worse. We could have been up against Black Chamber for all we knew. 5 men burst into the lab. Their movements are swift and sure, professional, and each of them is carrying a gun. They spread out just inside the door and aim their weapons at us. We are basically trapped at this point. It all happens so fast, no one has time to scream. The men are foreigners, a mix of races, dressed casually in colourful shirts and shorts or jeans. Their arms are thick with muscle, and their eyes are hard and cold. 2 of them holding pistols, the other have assault rifles. AK-47s in Akihabara? Is this some kind of joke? One thing is certain, these guys are not tourists. And they're not terrorists either, not in the traditional sense of the term. The dark-skinned crew-cut man barks in order. Feels like I'm dreaming. Did I fall asleep while watching an action movie? Sad to say, Rintaro, but we are very much awake. This is the first time so many people have gathered in this room. Suddenly the lab feels small. What an odd thing to be thinking at a time like this. The first to obey is Daru, then Kurisu raises her hands, then me, last is Mayuri. Silence. Time seems to grind to a halt. The men say nothing, but their guns remain steady, muzzles pointed at us. On the TV, a comedian laughs. What is this? Are we on candid camera? Then I hear a new sound coming from outside. the sound of high heels. A woman is coming up the stairs. Are these men waiting for her? Is she their leader? A squad of battle-hardened commandos led by a beautiful woman. It's like something out of a manga. Nothing seems real. Before long, the woman appears. And lo and behold, it's you.
Kiryu Moe ka?
Yeah. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I didn't trust you. Actually, not at first, because at the time, you were just some random stranger who just happened to be interested in the IBN 5100. But the fact that, even though we didn't discover it until much later, the fact that the IBN 5100 vanished just after your D-mail, because that was before Rukuko sent her his D-mail to become her, basically, as in boy and girl. But I'm rambling here. There were just too many things about Moeka that struck a flag in me. And her recent behavior was basically, a little too suspicious for my liking. The part-time editor of Arkwright. Although that is, at this point we can assume that is a very simple yet elaborate lie on her part. If only we'd done some digging of our own. The male demon, Shining Finger, who is never seen without her phone. Lab member 005. She's their leader, apparently the leader of this group of mercenaries, to be sure. The least imposing woman I ever met. Even now, she doesn't meet my stare. Her eyes are aimed down at the floor. What is going on here? And even Mayuri is shocked by the sudden turn of events. Apparently they're here to appropriate our time leak machine. As always, her words are barely audible. It's ridiculous, laughable, and yet I can't laugh. My heart is a jackhammer in my chest. The inside of my mouth is drier than a desert. I stay still, with my hands in the air.
牧瀬クリス、岡部倫太郎、橋田至、3名については我々と一緒に来てもらう。
So apparently SERN are interested in Rintaro, Daru and Kurisu, mainly because, well, these three were the ones who crafted the phone wave TBA and the time leap machine to begin with. But I don't understand. Why is she here? I don't know, but I have to ask.
どういうことだ?
答えられない。
And she refuses to answer us.
冗談だろ?
Moeka shakes her head. We were entirely, well, by we I mean you, Rintaro, you were entirely too,
あなたたちに答える必要はないという意味。
Indeed. Well, to be fair, we already do know plenty, and suffice to say that we probably know a bit more about SERN than you do, because if this is playing out like an action film, I doubt that SERN would actually allow their professionally hired mercenaries to actually know the extent of their experiments. But then again, these people are probably just in it for the money.
とにかく来て。
Although we don't entirely know Moika's interest in all this, yet we can't deny that she is a CERN sleeper agent at this point. And once again, she refuses to speak to us. No reply. She doesn't intend to answer that either. Dangerous. These guys are dangerous. Look at their guns. Nothing good can happen if we go with them. It's entirely likely that CERN will try to use us in order to build their time machine, or to try and help fix whatever problems they have with their time machine. But I think it's a safe bet to assume that once our usefulness comes to an end, CERN will coldly and callously dispose of us, either by killing us or turning us into jelly men. Both fates are exceptionally worse. I try to refuse, but my voice catches in my throat. I can't stop staring at their guns. Are they real? They're not going to start shooting, are they?
理由と行き先を教えてもらわない限りついていくことはできない。
That's probably not a good move on our part there, Rintaro. And I also think it's safe to assume that the guns these mercenaries are holding are not from the $2 shop.
拒否することは認めない。あなたたちに逃げ場はないわ。
Indeed, we're trapped like rats in a cage.
私たちの仲間はすでに秋葉原中に散らばっている。
Indeed, CERN wouldn't be careless enough to just keep things focused on the stations. Something clicks in my head. It was them. They set the bomb threat. They stopped the trains. Why? To keep us here? Indeed. That is exactly just for
手荒
that.
な真似はしたくない。
And yet she will possibly kill us.
一緒に来て。
And I've just suddenly realized something truly ominous. Morika wants Rintaro, or rather CERN, through Morika, wants Rintaro, Daru, and Kurisu. There is only one person, however, that they did not name.
なんで
Kurisu, who has kept silent until now, finally opens her mouth.
3人なの
That's when I realized that Mayuri wasn't included in Morika's demand. She only wants Kurisu, Daru, and me. So, the logical, rational thing to assume is that if we do acquiesce to Morika's request, that hopefully by doing so that if CERN have us, then there is no need to actually keep Mayuri here. But then again, who am I kidding? If CERN have a bunch of mercenaries and sleeper agents ready to capture us at any given moment, it's entirely, unfortunately, certain that they will want to remove any potential witnesses, no matter how uninvolved they are. And Mayuri, given how much trouble she's had following the time machine projects, even though she will never understand them, that will not unfortunately save her from
何を聞かれて
CERN.
も答えるつもりはない。あなたたちはただついてくればいい。
It is. It is, unfortunately, our only choice. We're not getting anywhere.
おかりん
Daru's voice is shaking. I turn my head to look at him. He's deathly pale.
とりあえず言うこと聞いとくべきじゃね
I believe we're caught in a...
目的を言ってもらわないと
I believe we're caught in a Kobayashi Maru situation here, Rintaro. Honestly, I have no idea what to do. My heart is still fluttering in my chest. This seems more dream than reality. I'm not a military otaku. I've never seen a real gun. The black shine of their weapons look somehow tacky. They lack the imposing feel you expect. Yeah, that's the difference between watching guns on an action movie and seeing them in real life. But they are no less dangerous. I believe her if she told me they were fake. Mayuri suddenly speaks up.
ねえ萌香さんはラボメン仲間だよね
It's as if Mayuri asked my question for me. We should probably use this time to think about our options and possibly give ourselves up for the time being, and hopefully well, I'm not really hoping for much at this point, because we don't really have a choice in this situation. There are no ways out, no alternatives to this situation, and our only hope is Suzuha, which I hope they haven't managed to intercept on their way up here, and hopefully Suzuha might have anticipated something like this, which, while suspicious in and of itself, may actually prove to be our salvation. But that will be in the next episode. So when we return, adventurers, we will see if we can't find a way out of the situation, or if we have no choice but to go with Morika and her band of professional SERN mercenaries. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.